Hello everybody, Aaron Bell here again with AGB Cars. Welcome to the latest episode where today I'm going to be talking about the German Grand Prix and the future of the German Grand Prix. In the past few days it has been kind of announced that there probably won't be a German race this year. So I'm just going to talk a bit about that, a bit of the history of the German Grand Prix and why it's like the reasons that this has happened and what the future looks like for it. So if you like the video, be sure to like it below and comment and say what you think of it, and of course subscribe to keep up to date with AGB Cars. So if we go back a few years now to kind of the early 2000s, Germany had two Formula 1 races, one in the Nürburgring and one at Hockenheim. So the Nürburgring race was sort of classified as the European Grand Prix, and then Hockenheim was the German Grand Prix. And then over time, when other tracks were put forward for the European race, then the Nürburgring and Hockenheim both kind of came to an agreement where they'd alternate races, so the odd number years would have the Nürburgring, and even number years would have a race at Hockenheim. So that's been happening now for the past good few years now, probably 8 or 9 years, and it's kind of like the last few years, the popularity, I suppose, and the following of Formula 1 on the television and as well at Grand Prix has reduced dramatically. Like races like Korea, where like the first race there was 2010, and then the last race was 2013. So it was an example of a race kind of where they thought it would be a great idea to have a race there, and it worked for a few years before it kind of just flopped and nobody showed up anymore, and there wasn't any interest in it, so they had to cancel it. Especially with the latest Grand Prix, it's kind of a feature now because the FIA and Ecclestone are kind of branching out into other new countries now, mainly in the Middle East and Eastern Europe, because I know I think 2016 the Azerbaijan race is scheduled, and I know a lot of other countries around there like Dubai as well, I think, are really pushing for a Grand Prix over there. So it's kind of, because we're going over here and it'll be great for a few years and then it'll just fail, is not great for the sport. And then also in viewings at home on the television have dropped as well, and I suppose a lot of that reasoning would be Sky F1 having exclusive live coverage, while the BBC, which is free to air, of course only gets a proportion, only gets half the races live. And I suppose when that happened, like the viewings would obviously have went down, because not everyone wants to get Sky F1 because it costs so much in the first place. So like the popularity of F1, which is a whole other story, I suppose, is not good at the moment. So then the German Grand Prix, like the main reasoning for what's happening is there's no interest and the tracks have no money, because so if we just go back now to the main story now of the German Grand Prix, 2015 now the German Grand Prix was scheduled to be at the Nürburgring track, and the Nürburgring have really been going through some really, really hard financial times lately, because I know the race in 2013 was even lucky to get the go-ahead, and since then, like, there's been talk about having to close it all together, and the ownership as well has changed hands since then, which is really, really sad when it's probably the most iconic, or like in the top 5 anyway, iconic tracks in the world, along with kind of Monza and Spa and places like that. So it's really a track that we can't lose. But then again, like, if there's no spectators there, like, you can't really have a race, because it's a waste really when other tracks would have full grandstands. So it was supposed to be at the Nürburgring, but then when the Nürburgring kind of said to Bernie Ecclestone and the FIA, like, we can't host it, we don't have any money, then the chairman of the Hockenheim track kind of stepped forward and said, alright, well, we'll host it then, if the Nürburgring can't. But of course Hockenheim hosted it last year and are due to host it next year in 2016 as well. So that was kind of their saviour, I suppose. But now, like Hockenheim last year, the stands were practically empty, which is like really strange because Mercedes were doing so well. Rosberg, who was a German of course, like had a strong chance of winning that race. And then also the Germans were on a high of winning the Football World Cup as well. So it was a time where they kind of should have had full grandstands, but they didn't. So like the interest isn't there anymore, which is why they can't fund a race there this year. So Hockenheim sort of put their heads up and said, right, okay, we'll host it. But then now they've kind of realised that they can't. So like there probably won't be a Grand Prix this year in Germany, which is sad. Although it hasn't been confirmed yet, there still could be a race. Has not confirmed officially if there is no race or not, but probably won't happen. And then there's another story of if the organisers of the Grand Prix do not tell the FIA within 3 months of the scheduled date that they can't host it, then there's a penalty kind of that you cannot host a Grand Prix the following year either. So like if Hockenheim say, right, yeah, we certainly can't host it, but if it's within 3 months of the actual race, then Germany won't be able to host a Grand Prix until 2017, which is really, really sad because Germany has produced some of the best drivers, and also of course Mercedes as well are doing phenomenally as well now on track. So it's really, really sad, and that's like basically it. Like it's quite simple, although there should be something in place to save those kind of tracks of like Hockenheim and Nürburgring and Monza and Spa and all, because Monza as well is on the brink of economic difficulties, I suppose, but like Monza cannot really be lost. I suppose like Ferrari even would give money to the Monza track to have it host a Grand Prix, because like you can't have a F1 season without Monza, frankly. But anyway, that's another video as well. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the German Grand Prix. I certainly hope it goes ahead, but probably won't. So yeah, if you like this video, be sure to like it just underneath, and leave a comment and give your thoughts of the German Grand Prix and the future of Formula 1 racing as well. So yeah, until the next time, goodbye.